afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our weekly Spotlight on History for Wednesday, December 16th. I'm Helen Dellinger, curator of the Manassas Museum System, and I'm coming to you today from our temporary exhibition gallery, and where we have our brand new exhibition, The Power of Play, is recently opened, and you can see some of that here behind me. Today we're going to look at some of the toys in this exhibition case, and we're going to start with, or we're just going to do today, these three toys right here, these three action figures. Clearly we have, for those of you that know these figures, that's the Lone Ranger in the middle with his trusty sidekick Tonto and the Lone Ranger's horse Silver. So these three are all on exhibit here. Now this is part of a set of toys that was released by Gabriel in 1972. In total, there were 6 figures of people and 4 horses, along with a prairie wagon and some other like forks and things like that you could buy. Now all of these things that you're going to see today belong to a private collector. And just these 3 pieces are on exhibit. The ones that I'm going to show you later are not. So unlike many of the dolls in this exhibit, these figures and the animals are articulated. I'll show you this one here. This is Scout, so this would be Tonto's horse. And by fully articulated, that means that they move. So you can see that their legs, they're all typed, they don't just move back and forth, they're jointed. The heads move up and down. So the horses do that, and on the people, the heads move and the arms and legs move. So that means that they're fully articulated. Most dolls are not like that. They all have accessories that you can take on and off. On this one, you can see it's got a saddle and a bridle here. All of these things come off. It's the same thing with the figures. The hats come off, the gun belts come off, the little guns come out of the gun belts. So there's a lot of things that could go on with these toys and the ways that you could play with them. The figures are made to sit on the horses, but they don't do so very well. But it's a little flaw of the toy there. Now you can see here also, this is a prairie wagon that was included with these toys. Here's the original box for it. So this could be made into 4 different types of configurations. An ore wagon, a chuck wagon, a ranch wagon, or a covered wagon. Here we have it as, I guess that's a ranch wagon, not sure what you would call that. The horses could be hooked up to it. We didn't get out all the little parts and pieces with this today. So this is just one of the associated play sets that were included with the Lone Ranger action figure series. Now, just a little backstory on the Lone Ranger to give you some information. The Lone Ranger first appeared in America in 1933 on a radio program out of Detroit. And a gentleman named Earl Grasser voiced the title character on the radio nearly 13,000 times, 13,000 episodes, so it was a very popular show. A few other actors took short stints, but it was mostly his voice that people got used to hearing. The radio show became so popular that a television series called The Lone Ranger was created that aired from 1949 to 1957. Now, I personally remember this as a kid in reruns. I want to emphasize that, in reruns on Saturday morning. It was a black and white. It was a favorite of mine. And then comic books and toys soon followed. And that's when these came out and were released by Gabriel Toys starting in 1972. So the Lone Ranger and Tonto became a very popular part of American culture. Now on the television show, the Lone Ranger was mostly played by Clayton Moore. A few other actors did the role, but he was the one that played him the most. And then Jay Silverheels, a member of the Mohawk Nation, portrayed Tonto. So for those of you that may be familiar with that show, those were the actors. Now, would it surprise you to know, this is something that I looked up and found interesting, that some historians propose that an African-American named Bass Reeves was the basis for the Lone Ranger character. How many of you would be surprised to know that? So Reeves was the first African-American U.S. Deputy Marshal that worked west of the Mississippi River, mostly in the Arkansas and Oklahoma territories. During his long career, he arrested over 3,000 very dangerous criminals, and his exploits were legendary during that time. He would disguise himself to catch people and all of the types of things. So some historians have suggested that Reeves was the basis for the Lone Ranger character. I have a picture of him here, so we'll be able to see what he looks like. So here's Mr. Reeves, U.S. Marshal. Now, there's no concrete evidence at all that the real legend was inspired, the fictional cowboy was inspired by an actual person, by Bass Reeves. But a biographer who wrote a book called Black Gun, Silver Star, and his name was Art Burton, he declared that Bass Reeves is the closest real person to resemble the fictional Lone Ranger on the American Western frontier of the 19th century. So it's just a fun theory, one that's fun to debate. There's no evidence of it, but it's just kind of neat. There's a lot of extra detailed information if you look him up online as to why historians argue that he was the first Lone Ranger, so to speak. So if you would like to see these 3 action figures and any of the other fun toys and games, please come see us at the Manassas Museum and visit the Power of Play. And that's all we're going to have for today, but please check back with us every Wednesday as I continue to bring you more pieces that are in this exhibition. I'll see you soon.